Welcome to another lesson on React. In this video, we'll be looking at doing imports and exports and also touching base on writing JSX correctly. So let's look at one component that we did in one of our videos before now. So this component is supposed to be called follow me. And the idea is that you're supposed to have social media links on the component whereby user can click on it and it will take them to your page. I just created TikTok and YouTube. You can actually create more social media handles. I will just quickly create Instagram now just to create dynamism into it so that you can see what's going on. So let's go ahead and create Instagram. I'm just going to duplicate YouTube that we have there and call this IG. I have to go and look for Instagram logo. So that's my handle, process guy. There's this second one we saw. Yeah, let's use this one. Okay guys, so we are good. Guys, look at this. This is a file called follow me, and the follow me has the activities that we want to do to depict. We want to create links that we have created right now, and the idea is that people can click on it and they can literally follow you by using this link. But what I'm trying to tell you is that now that inside that follow me file, you can have more functions inside there. This is JavaScript, guys. So you can have more functions in the sense that you can actually have a TikTok function that will just render only TikTok alone. And the reason for me wanting to create this is so that I can explain more things to you guys. So I can actually do a function called TikTok, and that function will return only what TikTok does, which is this part. This is just HTML. I'm just returning only this guy so that I can then say, remember this is a function. I can then say that, oh, I want to replace this with a React tag because React understands this. So do you see, guys, we've been able to write a shorthand, or we've been able to reduce our code or make our code readable by providing a React function or a React component inside another supposedly React component. So this is what React allows us to do. Let's go ahead and do shortcuts for every other one. I want to turn every other thing to a function so that we can have something much more readable. So let's go, guys. So I have function, and this time around I do YouTube. Inside in here we return the tags that has to do with YouTube. You can then write your YouTube tag and that should work. We do the same thing to IG. What we've done differently is to make each of these things their separate function, but they are then translated into what? React elements. The reason why we have to do this, or we wanted to do this, is because I want to be able to at some point make use of individual function or individual tag whenever I need it. Instead of me calling the whole of follow me, I want to say, oh, okay, I just want to use TikTok and YouTube on my page. I don't use Instagram, or I want to use only YouTube, right? So this can be a function that you create to use for multiple websites. And whenever you're using that function, you want to say, okay, this client only has TikTok and YouTube. Then you don't need to call Instagram, for example. That's the purpose, or that's when you will need something like this. At this point now, the only thing that is exportable is follow me. To make use of IG, you have to put the keyword export. So you have to export all the functions there to be able to use it in the outside world. So let's go to where it is being consumed. Notice the code we wrote here. Number one, import follow me from follow me, right? The reason why we're able to see follow me was because we say that we are exporting it like this. When you have a file like this, you have to export at least one function, or else it doesn't make sense. You wrote a component and you are not exposing anything to it. That doesn't make sense. So you have to expose something to the world. Let's say you have another section in the entire page, and I'll call this section 2 just for clarity. So this is supposed to be another section, and notice it is on the bottom, right? On that section 2 page, what are you trying to do? You want to individually specify TikTok and YouTube. How do you specify that? You have to import it from follow me. There's a syntax in which you can import specific function from a file. So you do import and you introduce this bracket. What this bracket does is that you are specifying that you want to pick a function out of all the functions in that file. So remember, there are like 3 functions there. There's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's Instagram. So let's pick IG. Then let's pick TikTok. So once you are done selecting what you want to select, you follow by from, you now pick the file from follow me. When you do this, automatically, you've been able to import IG and also TikTok. The next thing for you to do is to consume it, to make use of it. So to make use of IG, what you just need to do is use it like a normal tag, right? So let's make use of IG. You just type IG here and you're good to go. You can see that IG is now usable inside here, and that's why there's only IG on section 2. If you also want to make TikTok available, you can just specify TikTok there and TikTok will be available in your component. And what are the benefits of using this curly bracket? The benefit is that you are only calling exactly what you are using. So it is not advisable to just call everything if you know what you are using. If you know what you want to use, just import specifics of what you want to use. Because when you import everything, it will just make your code bloated by the time you are exporting or you are building your application at the end. So how do you import everything? Let's say, for example, we want to import all these guys. We want to import IG, we want to import TikTok, and you also want to import YouTube. And you don't want to specify it manually like this. You have to use another code here. To now import everything from this library, to do that, you say import everything. You use the word asterisk here. You say that asterisk means everything, because you have to give it a name. You can't just say import everything. You have to give it an alias. You have to keep it a variable where you can use it anytime you want. So we can give it any variable name, anything. So in this case, since we know we are using everything, we say import everything as F from follow me. F now carry every instances of the functions that you have in your variable. So to get access to all the functions or all the components inside follow me, you have to use the alias while declaring your function. So you start with F dot. So when you do your F, then all the functions in the elements becomes available for you to use. So this will work. Remember, you have to use the alias that you use here. So if you do the same thing, F dot this, you have that. You can do F dot this, you have that. So that this will then render to this. So the advantage of using this method is that if you don't know what you will need, you can just do, get everything. And it's also a way for you to look through what is available inside your components. Mixing JavaScript and HTML together. The rules governing those two guys are very important. And I'm going to be using random image to explain that. This is a component I wrote just to randomize images. Let's put it to use and see how it works. So if you come here, you could just do, I can say random images, and to call that, I can call that by just saying random images. We're going to go and look at the tag together and see what it does. So anytime you run this, it's going to be giving you random images. And the code is pretty simple. It just returns an image with a URL. This URL, whenever you call it, it gives you random images. You should start thinking about how do you convert your normal HTML to JSX. That should be your current logic now. Now let's say you have a list here. I'll just come in here and write normal HTML where you have a list. So the question is, how do you convert this HTML to JSX? Even though JSX is also an extension of JavaScript. There's no new language done. You are just embedding this code inside what a function. It's very important that you know what is happening to your code. What you are putting your HTML through, you are passing it through a bracket like this. That's what is happening to it. So you should look at it this way. What is happening here is the magic. You see the return. What you are returning here is the magic. So you pass all your HTML inside here. Another thing again that you will see in examples that you might have seen so far is the fact that every time they end up adding things in return, you can build your markup outside. You can build your HTML outside and bring it in when you need it. What does that mean? It means you can actually have a variable that holds what it is you want to do. So you can say constant list is equal to your list like this. Now that's the list we wrote the other time, mind you. Say list 1 and then list 2. This is pure HTML that we have here, right? And then you are assigning an HTML structure into a variable. We said that is a JSX element. So therefore, if you now want to render what is here inside your return, you can also render it. It might not even be inside your return. It might be that you want to return what you have here. You can just display your list this way and you are done, right, guys? This is just you displaying what it is you have here. So you can literally dump what you have here inside your return. You can do that. So, but what if you're already hooked up inside an HTML? This is an HTML structure or React element. You're already hooked up inside and you want to be able to dump this list inside here. There's a way for that. Is for you to tell it that, oh boy, even though I know that I'm inside this, I want to do JavaScript. Then you introduce the curly braces. So the curly braces allows you to pass JavaScript inside. So if I put this here, it then allows you to pass in whatever is here, inject it into here, and then you can flow and have your normal elements. So let's move on. In writing your JSX, you need to only have one root element. Root elements means that it's only one parent that the element can have. You can't have two parents as a React element. So if this was a div, and by the way, you can do something like this. If this was a div, you can't have another div outside. Another div outside will mean that this list has two parents. That's what it means. So, but like I said, it will only have one parent. And most of the time, you can always use empty elements like this to declare it. It makes it look nice. In this case, you can always put as many things as you want here to build up your components. You can be tempted to do something like this, which is not bad, right? But at the point at which you are building your interface, you might discover that you need to do one more thing. So most of the time, you will see me having it like this always. So I can jump into the code and add as many things as I want to add. So it makes it very easy for me to have, new things sitting right there. Rule number 2 is that all tags must be closed. I taught you this one in HTML, guys. I stress out the importance of closing all tags, even the ones that don't have closed tags or don't have body. So let me give you an example. Look at this HR, guys. You see the way I close it this has been a habit of mine. I make sure I close all my tags. Even BR, I close it, right? So that habit, if you've been very used to that habit, you won't be having issues when you try to do something like this. You just know that you just have to close it. So if you leave it open, it might give you an error. Do you see that, guys? Do you see? Error. You have to close any tags. Any tag that you have has to be closed. And most of the time, images also are left open. Their tags are always left open in normal standard HTML, even though HTML5 introduced that all tags must be closed. That's why when I was teaching HTML, I stressed that you have to inculcate the habit of closing tags. Number 3 things that you also have to take care of is some attributes in HTML requires you to use camel case. So this is what camel case is. So let me give you an example of something that you know. So this is follow me. So this is capitalized. This is called capitalized case. This is camel case. Camel case means the first letter is lowercase. The next thing that happens should be uppercase. The next word after it, like, because these 2 words joined together. So the next one should be in capital letters. So this is camel case here. So what it's saying is that some attributes require you to put them in camel case. Example of those attributes is class name. Even though class is now accepted, but the better way for you to specify class of a property is to use class name like this. Remember, when we are doing JavaScript, if we wanted to change the class name of an element, we use this class name. So class name are like this, and then you can see that it's in camel case. Another part that you need camel case is when you are declaring style. So just know that attribute like this that has 2 names. I can't think of any attribute that has 2 names right now, apart from class name. There are some property that has 2 name data that you will need to use, camel case for. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing that we have here. and that is specifying style. Remember that even though it's not recommended, you can style your elements in HTML by doing this style here. You can do like this in HTML, right? So even though, yeah, we don't recommend it in HTML as well, and let me just show you how to do it in React as well. You can do it in React, and the way to do it in React is a little bit different. And the reason why I'm showing you is because to show you the difference, because sometimes you might be locked tight in a corner. You might be in a corner that you want to use it, and if you want to use it, you should be able to use it. You should have that knowledge on how to use style with your React elements. So let's go ahead and specify style. It's a little bit different, and you need to see how it's implemented. So when you specify style, you will need to specify these brackets. So the first set of curly braces specify that you want to write JavaScript. The second bracket specify that you are about to capture an object of style. Because when you are making changes to a style, you're not just changing one thing. You want to change two things. You want to change three things. So you can't just pass it in like JavaScript. You have to pass it in as a proper object. Now that that is done, let's go ahead and change the border radius of our image. Then we now start applying this rule of camel case. Any CSS property that has a dash, you will use camel case to represent it. Reason because you can't have a dash in an object name. So let's do border radius. You start with a small lowercase and then radius, and to put the value you use column to specify the value. Let's say 33. Let me remove some styling that I've enforced here. You can see that it's showing 33 there, so let me enforce something more straighter. I can also have padding 10. Then let's do border solid 1px, and let me do 10px so that it's obvious, and gray. Okay, our background is already gray, so let's do red. So let's make it 1. Yeah, I've been able to introduce style, inline style, which is not recommended. We highly recommend that everything you want to style should go to your CSS. Assignment that you guys can work on by the time you are watching this video is to create other social media link. You can create LinkedIn, you can create Facebook, you can create other handles, like 5 of them, and be able to import them just the way I did, using specific importation, importing by specific function rather than importing just the default. You should be able to import specific ones and then give them a test. Thank you for staying to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on bell notification in order to be notified when we release new videos. See you in the next one.